Alright, so this is going to be my first attempt at an ASMR video. I've been watching them for a long time. Thought I might take a crack at it. I have a Magic the Gathering deck here. I was thinking about doing a sort of introduction video to Magic the Gathering, kind of show how the game is played, but I think there's a lot of those out there, and I imagine most people searching for a Magic the Gathering ASMR video already have a general idea how the game is played, so I'll just kind of progress forward as if most people watching kind of understand the rules and everything. If anyone would be interested in more of a kind of introductory video of how the game works and everything, I'd be happy to make one. Just let me know in the comments. So this is a demon sacrifice deck. I put a bunch of sacrifice spells and abilities in here to force the opponent to throw cards away, like this right here, Geth's Verdict. Target player sacrifices a creature and loses 1 life. Now, most people who run removal prefer something that can target an individual creature. Like with this, you don't get to pick what gets sacrificed, the opponent does. But what's actually handy about that is that since it doesn't actually target the opponent's creature, it targets the player. That means that it can't be protected by things like hexproof, protection from color, and anything like that. So I've really enjoyed this deck because it gets around anything that they could do to protect their creatures. And my creatures in this deck are primarily demons because there's some I found I really liked that had abilities that synergized with the deck, like this one here. Archfiend of Depravity, it's 5-drop flying. At the beginning of each opponent's end step, that player chooses up to 2 creatures he or she controls, then sacrifices the rest. Now that's really good because the downside of this deck would be if they can get a bunch of stuff on the field, then if I play stuff like this, they can choose between like the 10 creatures they've got, and it's hard for me to whittle them down to nothing. But if the most they can possibly ever have at one time is 2, then it's easy for me to kind of maintain control of the board. So those are just a couple of cards to introduce the concept. I think from here I might just draw random cards off the top and might be a little more spontaneous and enjoyable to watch. So that's another Desecration Demon. He doesn't necessarily force the opponent to sacrifice, but he has the option that they may. At the beginning of any combat step, they can sacrifice a creature to force me to tap him, but he'll get a +1/+1 counter as a consequence. Anyway, it makes them in a more difficult position to make the sacrifice if I'm not letting them keep any creatures in play to begin with. So it's harder for them to make him tap. He's a 6/6 flyer for 4 mana. So that's pretty stupendously broken. I don't know what they were thinking when they made him, but I enjoy playing him. So another Archfiend of Depravity. Let's see, Swamps. Maybe I should have taken the mana out. Hindsight's 20/20, I guess. Islands. I have some blue cards in here too. I splashed a little bit of blue in this deck. We'll get to those in a moment. Let's see, another Geth's Verdict. Well, here's a fun one. Tribute of Hunger. Target opponent sacrifices a creature. You gain life equal to that creature's toughness. Now, I don't have a lot of life gain in this deck, but this one synergizes with the core theme while still having the bonus of me getting a little bit of a life boost. And what's good about it is that if they're getting a bunch of creatures in play, and then I start playing Sacrifice, they're going to hold on to their best creature for last, obviously. So I just keep this in my back pocket until I've got them down to that 1 creature, and then when I play this one last, they have to sacrifice the big guy, and I get all that life. Another Geth's Verdict. Swamps. Temple of Deceit. I really need to get more dual-colored land in here. This is one of the few that I've got. It can be used for blue or black mana. And it enters the battlefield tapped. When it does, I get to scry 1. So, if I don't like the card that's on top, I'll throw it away. Now this one I would keep if I was scrying. Indulgent Tormentor. 5/3. He's another one that doesn't make them sacrifice, but he does have a sacrifice effect, so he synergizes with the deck. At the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card unless target opponent sacrifices a creature or pays 3 life. Now it's harder for them to just bump off creatures, given that I'm making them sacrifice so much already. So they have to either take the life or let me draw a card. Most people let me draw a card, which I absolutely love, because I love to have ammo in my hand. I can't stand to be sitting on just no ammo. I like to have a lot of different options I can do, so I try to stuff a lot of draw in any of my decks, which is why I've got some blue splashed in here. We'll get to that as soon as we find one. Here's another sacrifice. Chainer's Edict, 2 mana, target player sacks a creature, nothing special, but it does have a flashback, which again I was talking about. I love to have ammo. This is another way that I try to get more ammo in my hand. Well, I say my hand, this is actually my graveyard. You can play this one from your graveyard. Now, 7 seems expensive, but we're talking about late game when I'm kind of top carding, just taking the top card out of my deck, and then it's nice to be able to fall back on some options that you have in your graveyard. Reviver Demon. Now, he's not a sacrifice, but he's what I call a blanket effect, which means he hits the entire field. 8 drop for a 6/6 flyer, a little expensive, but it's more his ability than anything. When he comes into play, if you played him from your hand, destroy all non-artifact, non-black creatures. They can't be regenerated. So that's a really excellent board wipe late game. Hopefully by the time I'm on turn 8, I've got it wrapped up anyway, but maybe I've got a tough opponent who's running control, and we've just kind of been back and forth, and maybe this can be a way for me to finally just clinch it at the very end. I've only got one of him in here because of how expensive he is. And obviously if I'm playing someone who runs a black deck, I'm going to end up sideboarding him out for the next game. Sign in Blood, I was talking about draw earlier. This one's pretty basic. Target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. I'll totally lose 2 life to draw 2 cards. This is actually a great card for spotting a new player in the game, because one of the first things you're told is you win by getting your opponent to 0 life. So they get a bit one-track minded, where they think, okay, I've got to run their life down. So when it says target player, they think they're supposed to target their opponent, so that their opponent loses the 2 life, because that's progress towards winning. But as a more experienced player will tell you, that 2 life is totally worth those 2 cards. You're setting your opponent up with more ammunition to take you down with a bigger, stronger attack than 2 measly little life. Chainer's Edict. Ponder. This is one of those blue splash cards I was talking about. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put them back in any order. You may shuffle your library, draw a card. So I look at the top 3, and whichever one I want right now, I put that one on top, and then take the draw card. If they're all just complete garbage, then I can shuffle my library, and then just take whatever randomly happens to end up on top. So for 1 drop draw ability, that's pretty good. Different print of Indulgent Tormentor. Use foil. I can take or leave foil. Some people spend money on all foil decks. I don't see how they do it. I think I built this entire deck for $50, which I enjoy because I sometimes beat people who run $200, $300 decks with it, which I don't know, may not be saying much. Maybe they're just not good deck designers and I'm letting it go to my head. Far and Away, here's another useful bit of blue being splashed. I mostly put this in here for Away. Target player sacrifices a creature, just straightforward with the rest of the deck's theme. But this one, Far, return target creature to its owner's hand. Now what's useful about that is that you make the decision more difficult. Whenever you see a 2-sided card like this, the one on the left resolves first. So you'll select a creature and bounce that one back to their hand, and then they have less options when they have to pick away. So the one that you want to actually kill, you don't select with Far. You select a different one, one that you don't really care about. Preordain. It's a lot like Ponder. For 1 blue, scry 2, then draw a card. I think I actually like this one a little bit better than Ponder. Another Far and Away. Dark Ritual. This one can be a lot of fun early game. I kind of hate getting them late game, but for 1 black, you add 3 black to your mana pool. So what's fun about that is if, say, I've got 3 swamps in play. It's turn 3. I can tap 1 for Dark Ritual. Add 3 to my mana pool, and I can tap it out, plus the other 2 mana, and get out something like Archfiend of Depravity on turn 3. There was one time I was playing a game where I happened to have Archfiend, 2 Dark Rituals, and a Swamp in my opening hand, so I played the Swamp, tapped it, Dark Ritual, 1 of the 3 mana for another Dark Ritual. It's a total of 5. Archfiend of Depravity turn 1, and the guy actually just laid down his hand and forfeited immediately. Another Desecration, some more islands. I might be out of new cards for you to look at, unfortunately. That might have been everything. Oh, never mind. Here we go. Neferox. This is a fun one. He's a little bit dated now, M13, but I still really like him. He fits really well with this deck. Flying, Exalted, 5/5, yeah, for a 6-drop. But his ability down here, whenever he attacks alone, defending player sacrifices a creature. Now that's really useful, because anything that's going to be a sack that hits, turn after turn after turn, like these spells I can only use once. Well, the one with the flashback I can use twice. But that's, it's ammo from your hand. Pretty soon you're out of sacrifices. With this one, if you can keep getting multiple sacrifices off the one card, it really helps whittle them down quick, fast, and in a hurry. Another Temple of Deceit. Some more. Ooh, I've only got one of this guy. I should probably get some more. But he's another creature that has a sacrifice ability, which is good because then you get more bang for your buck. You get control on the field, plus you take out one of their creatures. He's a 2-drop for 2/2, pretty standard. But if you pay an additional black mana as a kicker cost, then when it comes into play, the opponent has to sack a creature. So I make them sack a creature, and I get a 2/2 out on the field. Another Desecration, more swamps, Preordain. This one's fun. When it comes into play, each land is a swamp in addition to its other types. So all of my islands in here can then be tapped for black mana if I need it. It's really useful to get early on, because it turns all of my basic islands into a really nice dual-colored card that doesn't have to enter tapped or anything, just a straightforward dual-colored land. And now it does turn your opponent's lands into swamps as well, so that can be a little dangerous if they're running black mana. If not, then it doesn't really matter either way. Alternate artwork for Archfiend of Depravity. This one comes with a starter deck. I think I actually like the other artwork better. Although I think this one synergizes a little better with the flavor text. I love flavor text. Why would I kill you all? Who then will be left to worship me? Just kind of fits with the general trolliness of this deck. So yeah, that's about everything. Oh, no, there's one more new one. Treasure Cruise. This one is... I'm actually debating changing this one out. Delve. For each card, you exile from your graveyard, remove 1 of the colorless cast, and then draw 3 cards. So ideally, you want this one in the late game. It's actually a card I might trade it out for. In fact, I'll leave that up to you guys. Let me show it to you. I've got it over here somewhere. Yeah, here it is. Ancestral Vision. You can't play it outright, but for 1, you suspend it 4. On your upkeep, you remove one of the suspend counters from it, and once the suspend counters are out, you draw 3 cards. So it's 3 for 1 automatically, but you have to wait a few turns. I like that if I get this one in my opening hand, I can just throw that out my opening turn, and then on the near future, I'll be able to get a really good hand replenishment. Whereas this one, it's only if the game really goes a certain way. You have to be playing a lot of instants and stuff, and if I get those flashbacks in there, I don't want to exile them. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Treasure Cruise or Ancestral Vision? I like them both, so I'm not sure. I'm very particular about having 60 cards exactly in any given deck. A lot of people will do 63, 64, but just that slight statistical edge that you're going to get the card you really, really need. If I'm sitting there thinking, oh no, they've got too many creatures in the field. I really need to get to my Archfiend of Depravity. I mean, look at how much I'm having to filter through just to get to him now. So yeah, it's, if I have even more cards in there, that really brings down the odds that I'm going to draw that guy that I really need for that particular moment. So if they've got too much stuff on the field, I would really want to be able to get this guy. The less cards I have in the deck, the better my odds are of getting the guy that I need at that one moment. Alright, at 15 minutes. Hopefully it'll let me upload this. I didn't realize I'd gone that far over the 10-minute mark. I know for a long time YouTube had a 10-minute rule. I don't know if they did away with that, because I see a lot more 20, 30-minute videos now. I don't know, let me know what you guys thought. This is my Edgar Allan Poe deck box. I don't want to mix Ancestral Vision in there. I enjoy this. It's the Raven, obviously. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore. I've gotten a lot of compliments for the deck box here. I run a lot of black decks, so I thought this would really fit with the general theme of most of what I play. Alright, well, not really sure how to end this. Hope you enjoyed it. Comment, like, and if I get a good response, I'll be making more videos, so hope to see you guys soon.